Hi, everyone. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, and I am so glad you're here. It feels like I've been away forever, even though it was only a week, but I'm so glad you're all here. And I have such an incredible topic to share with you today, pretty much based on what I've been doing for the last month, and definitely that week that I wasn't able to be here with you. Put this into practice. So, as always, let's look at this as our guides are showing us, and then let me share with you what I've learned through this life transformational experience that I've been through. Remember, we're here to grow. That growing is not always pleasant. It isn't always the thing that you thought you wanted. But if you allow a partnership with the divine, it will be the growth that is perfect for you. And sometimes you won't be able to see that until you're through the experience. When it's presented to you, it might feel like no way, no how. You need to learn to trust and just go with it. So today, how to ask for and receive help from the divine. And they begin. Dearest hearts, before you can ask for help successfully, you must understand that help is always available, that every prayer is answered, and that no one is ever judged and found to be unworthy of receiving their desired request. However, there are several factors that prevent you from receiving the answer to your prayers or the miracle for which you are asking. Take a look at that right now and understand prayer, answered prayer, and a miracle are the same thing. We've gotten into the belief that a miracle is this big thing that happens once and forever, only in the most extreme circumstances. But I want you to get used to understanding that a miracle can be an everyday occurrence when you begin looking at it as answered prayer. Everything is a miracle when you look at it that way. Look around us at the plant and animal kingdom. That's a miracle. They do not sit there and worry and fret and get all anxious about what's happening. They merely stay in that divine flow and live a life of perfect bliss. And that's what we need to begin learning how to do. But we have to understand how to ask for and get the answer. Notice that we've assured you that every prayer is answered. In most cases, the answer is sent forth before the request is formulated in your mind. This is because the divine is all-seeing and all-knowing, and they know what your request will be. Therefore, they send the necessary assistance before you ask. Now, you may ask, but why do my prayers go unanswered? It feels as though I haven't been heard. And I have to share with you, in this realm of answered prayer, I really felt like I was the slowest learner on the planet for a really long time, as I always felt as though my prayers were not being answered. I was certain that, maybe not certain, I think I felt God heard me but chose not to answer because I wasn't worth it. This is the crux of the problem that we wish to resolve for you today. But as always, free will dictate that you may continue as you are without interference. Okay, let's get a hold of this. When you are praying or asking God for assistance, or the divine source, the universe, whatever you choose to call it, Your free will doesn't go anywhere. You can still say things to yourself like, I don't believe I will get an answer. I'm not worthy of receiving an answer. Or, I know better. Remember that. Free will doesn't go away just because you asked for help. So it's you must become open. The choice to open to the assistance that has been sent for is always up to you. And if you choose to ignore the answer as though it's not there, it will not be there for you. You can ask and ask and ask and ask. If you are blind, deaf, and dumb to the answer, you will be incapable of finding it. That's because you will be on the wrong energetic plane. The answer will be in the place of love, joy, and peace. That's where all answers are. That place of trust. And you will be in the place of fear and desperation, believing that your prayer was not answered. It's simply because you have not allowed yourself to go to the place where the answer is available. To simplify this statement, we wish to give you an example. You have in front of you a closed door. You have a choice. You may approach the door and ask that it open, and nothing will happen. For this door requires your active participation. In order for this closed door to open, you must reach out, turn the handle, and push the door so it will open. That's free will in action. There is something that you must do. You must participate if you are going to get or receive the answer. It's already been sent forth, but if you're going to receive it, understand it, and be able to put it into action, you have to go where the answer is. Prayer is similar to the closed door, but with the correct mindset and tools, you can allow the door to be an automatic door, one with sensors that opens as you approach. However, before your prayer door will open as you approach, you must do several things. All of these steps are equally important and will determine if the door swings open or remains closed. If you do not understand all of the elements, which I did not for a very long time, and I really haven't put them in such a condensed form before. I've given you different elements, but this is the first time I've really put this together so that we can see what is required. So you've got to have all of these things, because if you're doing part of it and not the other part, you're still not moving yourself into the place of receptivity. You're still holding on to that free will, I know better. So, first, you must believe. Belief has a double component, and each component is of equal importance. You must believe that the divine hears your prayers and has the capability to answer. That's usually the easy one for all of us. Some of us get stuck on, did God hear my prayer? Most of us believe that if God chose to, He has the capability to answer. They have the capability to answer. Here's the second part of belief. You must believe that you're deserving of receiving the answer. This is huge. I cannot stress how important this is. Everyone is worthy. There is no one, no matter how far you may have wandered from the ideal that you believe that God has set forward for your life, that will not receive an answered prayer. You are always worthy. Nothing can change that. You can feel cruddy, but you are still worthy of receiving an answer because the divine is in you and you are in the divine. You are a part of the divine. You are worthy just because you are you. Your actions do not define or increase your worth. You remain worthy from birth to death. Got to get a hold of that. If you're on my mailing list, which I would highly suggest, you will receive an affirmation stated in the I am formula. Not because I want you to read it and say, oh, Marcia says that she feels this way. No, I want you to read it and internalize it for you. I am this. I am that. Not you are. I am. Get used to owning that statement. For most of you, the first part, the divine hears and is capable, is understood and accepted. But the second part leads you off in a myriad of directions that create questions. And this is where many of you stall out. You say to yourselves, I know the divine is capable, but I don't know if I'm deserving. Don't I have to prove my worth before I can be blessed? This is such a hornet's nest. Just let it go. You're worthy, you are worthy, you are worthy. Open up to receive the blessing. You're never going to prove it. You're never going to become God. You are a part of God, but you're never going to be God. God is everything and everywhere. You cannot do that, but you are worthy just as you are. Rest assured that all are worthy. Prayer is always answered, but you must accept that you're worthy before you allow yourself to receive the answer. The divine is not holding out on you. You're holding out on the divine. Accept the responsibility that it is you. Second, you must ask once. Many of you ask and ask and ask. That was me. Constantly. Oh, help me, help me, help me. Ask once. When you're asking or speaking, you're not listening or receptive. The request occupies one vibrational space, while the answer occupies another. When we're asking, we're feeling needy, sometimes desperate, and definitely in a state of something, might be missing something, without something, almost lack. But when you are moving into the receptive place, the listening place, you're saying or cultivating that belief that I already have this. Now you need to step over into gratitude. Therefore, ask once, then prepare to become quiet or receptive. If you must speak, say only words of gratitude. Thank you for answering my prayer. I am now ready to receive. Then you must stop the chatter. No more running to your friends and telling them, oh, this is going on in my life and I need help. No. Stop that. That keeps you in the place of lack, desperation, and asking. Stop the chatter and allow the answer to find you. Stop the aimless searching, the questioning, and the noise. Become receptive, reflective, quiet, and follow the intuitional promptings that will be given. This is not a time for action. This is a time for preparing to take guided action as you're directed. The rushing around must stop, and the deliberate concentration on gratitude for the answer must begin. Now, I know all over the internet, social media, and many success books say, oh, no success without action. Yes, you will have to take action, but running around like a chicken without your head, doing something just so you can take action, is not the way to receive answered prayer. Take action as you are directed after you have become intentional in your listening, in your gratitude. Third, you must suspend doubt. If you are sincere about expecting to receive the answer, then you would act accordingly. If you're in doubt, you would think and say things such as, I hope God has heard me, will answer me, believes I deserve the answer, and is capable of helping me. If you hear any of those phrases coming out of your mouth, I hope God has heard me, immediately undo that statement. I know God has heard me, and the answer is here. I am in the process of opening myself up to receiving it. Now, you can only be in the process for so long. So once that feels okay, change the statement. I am now open to receiving. If you need a little bridge, I am in the process, but don't stay on the bridge. Cross to the other side. I am now allowing the answer to find me. When you are in that state of doubt, when doubt enters the energetic space, it crowds out the energy of allowing. There is now no space within you for the answer to form. Remember, the answer was delivered before the request was formulated, but there must be energetic space of allowing for you to receive. We're up against free will again. If you say, I doubt, it can't, it won't, I don't believe it, free will says, okay, then you won't, you can't, and you won't have to believe it. Get rid of doubt. Once again, we restate, the divine is not holding out on you. You are holding out on the divine. Free will says that that which you allow will be yours, whether it is for or against your highest good. You are so loved and so powerful that you are free to make mistakes. The divine's love for you will not diminish if you make a poor choice, but you will experience the consequence of that choice. You can choose to cut off your hand. You will not be punished by God for maiming your body. You will live with the consequence of not having a hand. You are not being punished. You are merely receiving the natural follow-through from your action. God does not punish. Fourth, a perfect prayer does not assume you know better than the divine. God is all-seeing and all-knowing. You have vast intelligence, but you're not infinite in your knowing. Therefore, when you ask for something, do not do so foolishly. Do not say, I want this thing and only this thing. Be open-ended. Instead, state your request. This is what I desire from my limited perspective. Then include a statement of highest good, such as, I want this or something better, whatever is for my highest good. Now you have stepped into the fullness of the divine and out of your finite being. By doing this, you prevent many painful lessons that would otherwise be yours to learn. As soon as you give your conclusion over to the divine, asking for your highest good, you escape all of the things that you may have encountered if you try to insist that it be this way. I learned that very painfully. I thought I had a really good understanding of where I needed to go in my life. None of us are omniscient. We all have trees in our forest and they block our view. Learn to go to the highest source possible and ask that what they believe is best for you is what you receive, and I guarantee you it will be so much better than what you could have possibly imagined for yourself. The divine sees you in your fullness. You see yourself in your limited capacity. Allow the broader vision to be the vision that comes forth in your life. You must learn to think of yourselves as children under the tutelage of infinite, unconditionally loving intelligence. You may choose the lesson, or you may choose the gift, and you do so without fear. You will never be loved less for choosing the lesson, but you can avoid the pain by trusting that you are so loved that it's not necessary for you to figure it out. You don't have to know what to ask for because the divine does. And if you trust their benevolence, it will always be to your benefit. You will not escape every lesson, for learning is a part of every life journey, but you will face far less hardship when you stop trying to do it yourself and you start doing it as the divine instructs. This does not mean that you look at yourself as stupid. The wisest person in the world understands they don't know everything, and they need to go to a source of higher intelligence to learn what they do not know. You are not stupid. You are extremely wise when you trust the divine to bring to you the highest good. Not what you can conceive, what they in their infinite wisdom can conceive. All of you have the choice to do it on your own, but none of you have the capability to navigate life successfully all of the time. None of us can do it on our own all of the time. There are certainly some things that we can do. Good for you. Be independent when you can, but accept help when you need it. Your willingness to let go of the I know better attitude and adopt the I accept my highest good attitude determines the depths to which you may fall or the height to which you may rise. I fell really far in my life, doing it on my own. Now, I didn't necessarily say to myself, I know better, but I was busy telling myself, I'm not worthy. And while I was saying that, I would not allow help. I couldn't accept it. I wasn't worthy. And I fell, and I fell, and I fell. And now I am rising and rising and rising. The phoenix rising from the ashes. And I gotta tell you, rising is a heck of a lot better than falling. So please, accept your highest good. God will not let you down. You are loved. You are worthy. You are deserving. Accept your highest good. So let's take a look at what they've shared with us. And I have a wonderful story of how this all fell together in my life, how I got to see the progression in just a beautiful way. And I finally said to them, this is so perfect, I need to share, and I need a really great topic that will help me share this. So that's why we're talking about this today. So let's remember, prayer is asking for help. It's the simplest thing we can ever do. But we are so good at making it hard. We make it hard with doubt, with fear, feeling unworthy, not trusting that we're heard, and refusing to allow ourselves to become receptive. Those are the no-nos. That's how, if you want to make your life difficult and fall really far, that's what you do. I did it. Don't. It's given me a wonderful amount of tools in my toolbox so I can help myself and I can help you moving forward. But it was painful and it took a really long time. Remember, we ask once, then immediately go into a state of grateful receptivity. Forget the adage, take action, to follow every lead, and to be go-getters if you're going to be successful. There's a time and a place for action. You cannot sit on your butt and ask God to do everything for you. That will not work. You have a role to play. But it has to be inspired action. And really, the best example I have are the two chickens. There's Chicken Little and the Little Red Hen. Chicken Little, something drops from a tree and hits her on the head, and she starts running around saying the sky is falling. She gets completely consumed in fear and runs in circles. She's taking an action. She's running, but in circles. And she's getting nowhere because the fear has control over her. Little Red Hen decides she wants to bake, I think it's a cake. Let's say it's a cake. And so she says, I want a cake. What do I have to do in order to get a cake? Well, I'm going to need wheat. So she goes out and she plants the wheat. She waits. Sometimes waiting is part of the answer. She waits until it grows, then she harvests the wheat. And then she pounds it into flour. And while she's doing all this, she keeps asking for help from others around her. And they're all like, later, we've got other things to do. Healthy boundaries, Little Red Hen is showing us. And we need to talk about that, not today. And so she ends up doing everything herself until she has a beautiful cake. She's taken inspired action. She knows exactly what to do because she's in touch with the divine, and she produces this beautiful cake. And because she had been asking them all to help her all along, she asked one final question. Who would like to eat this cake with me? And they all said, I would. And she says, sorry, you didn't help. It is okay not to give away slices of your cake to everyone that shows up after you've done all the hard work. Allow the divine to show you that path as well. It's lovely to be generous, but not if you've asked for help and been refused, and then they suddenly show up on your doorstep wanting a handout. That is not you being a divine giver. That's you being a sucker. So be Little Red Hen, who ended up saying something along the lines of, I will eat it myself. It's okay to keep that blessing for yourself and fill yourself up until you are overflowing and you automatically bless those around you. So let's review the steps that you need to use or go through in order to get answered prayer. And then I'm going to use those steps in the story that I'm going to share with you. And of course, then I want to hear from all of you. So remember step 1, 2 components. Believe that the divine hears you and they're capable. And, of course, the other side of that capability is your worth. So, but before we get over there, the divine hears you and they are capable of answering, of intervening, and of providing the help. Stop seeing God, the divine, the universe, source, as an angry man on a throne. That was my childhood image. God is omnipresent, and your help can come through any source necessary in order for you to receive it. If you can't get past the belief that the divine is incompetent, there's no way to move forward. There's no chance that you're going to be receptive to the answer. Just imagine that you have a complicated math problem to do, and you decide to go ask a toddler for help with the answer. Unless that child is a math genius, you're going to have very little belief that the child can help you. It's really not worth asking. If you can't get past the fact that you don't believe God has the capability of helping you, don't waste your breath. Spend your time learning about the divine and establishing a belief that they are capable and willing. Now, continuing over to the other side of step one, you've got to allow yourself to be worthy of receiving the answer. This means stop judging. I don't want to hear, I'm so bad, you don't know what I've done, blah, 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 God can't love me. You know what? You don't know. You don't understand unconditional love if I hear those words out of your mouth, and I do hear them often from many of the people that I work with. But that's not knowing the divine. The divine says no matter what you have done, you are worthy. Please step out of judgment. That is a product of your own being, not from the divine. It could be conditioning. It can be from a lot of places. It's not from the divine. Learn to step out of judgment. Step 2, ask once and let go of that request. Here's an image that I find really valuable. I want you to imagine that you've written your request on a piece of paper and you've tucked it inside a balloon, and you're holding on to the string of your balloon as you are asking for something the first time. If you continue holding on to the string of the balloon, let me go back a second. So you're asking, and your belief is, unless I let go of the string, this answer can't come back to me. It can't go to the place that it needs to go for me to receive the help, and the help can't come back to me. I won't ever get the answer. So if you keep asking and asking and asking, you're refusing to let go of the string of the balloon. You're holding it while you're saying to yourself, if I do not let this go, I will never receive an answer, but you're refusing to let go. Let go. Open your hand. Release the string. Let go of the request. Now, get into the heart and prepare to receive. There's only so much space within our energetic being while we're here in this physical. Create space for the miracle that you want to receive. Get into gratitude. Do some weeding in that heart space. Pull out limiting belief, negative thinking, judgment, shame, blame, guilt, all of that stuff. Get rid of it, please. And in the space where all of that negativity used to reside, plant a beautiful garden of gratitude. Think about all of the things that you are grateful for, including the answer to this prayer. Refrain from naming your solution. You don't know the answer. You simply cannot understand because we don't operate from unlimited intelligence. We can tap into it, but we as individuals do not have access to the unlimited mind by ourselves. We must be connected. Just want you to express gratitude for the perfect solution. Now, I want you to move forward without doubt. Act as if the answer is already here, and if you can't get there, at least get to the place where you are willing to believe the answer is coming. And as soon as you can get off that bridge, remember, coming is not here. You got to let go of the future tense and get into the present tense, because the present is the only place that you can occupy. So let go of it will be here someday, and allow today to be the day it arrives for you. It's not if your prayer will be answered, it's thank you that my prayer has been answered. If doubt surfaces, get busy. Don't just let it blossom in there. We all have doubts. Reaffirm. I've asked. I know I was heard. I accept my worth. I'm grateful for the answer. And repeat that cycle as often as you need until the doubt begins to fade away. And keep going until it's no longer there at all. Doubt crowds out your receiving space. Doubt has to be eliminated or at least diminished as much as possible. And fourth, don't be a dictator. Learn to trust divine wisdom and ask for this or something better, whatever is for your highest good. Trust the benevolence of the divine. You don't know better. You don't have access to all of the elements in your limited capacity, but the divine does. And I was meant to get my Bible out and research this, so it's not going to be very poor paraphrasing, because my Bible days were a long time ago and certain things come floating back up to the surface. But Jesus said something along the lines would a loving father give their child a stone when they ask for a piece of bread? How much more would your heavenly Father give you when you ask? No one is going to give their child or someone that they love something that is completely useless. And God is so much more than a physical parent. What we are able to do as physical parents or just as loving individuals pales in comparison to the unconditional love that the divine holds for you. Jesus is telling us, you can trust that only good comes from God. If we receive bad, it's because we're refusing to accept the good, usually out of shame or unworthiness. Get in there and do some house cleaning. Get rid of the shame, please. Repeat throughout the day, God gives only good. And know it. It doesn't matter where you've been or what you've done. It matters only that you're willing to receive. Sickness, poverty, instability of any kind is our choice. It is not a God punishment. We choose it either for the experience or because of our thinking. God doesn't punish. We choose to punish ourselves. And if that makes you mad, get over it, because it is time for you to take responsibility for where you are. And I can't say it any softer than that. Take responsibility for where you are. If it's a deep, dark place, you put yourself there. Maybe not intentionally. I probably guarantee you that you didn't do it intentionally. But the way out of that deep, dark place is to take responsibility for being there and ask for help getting out. If you say, look at all these bad things that are happening to me, you become a victim. I want you to be victorious. Take responsibility. My thoughts and actions have brought me here. I'm going to need help getting out. And get busy. Now let's take everything we just talked about, and I'm going to share this story with you about moving. The reason that I wasn't on the call was because I had to move. Now, I told you before about how the angels found me the absolute perfect place. So I'm still, moving day is coming. So far, we haven't lined up any movers. And I'm thinking, okay, I asked the angels for a move that would be easy and that would just go seamlessly. So I make a reservation with U-Haul. That was what I felt prompted to do. I couldn't think of anything else to do. I'm thinking, okay, I'll get the truck and people to help us will appear. The person that we had hoped would help us was moving themselves, so they couldn't help that day. It was just going to be my son and I doing all this heavy lifting. I thought, okay, well, just going to show me how strong I am if nobody appears, but I'm really hoping someone will appear. So I have a lovely conversation with the U-Haul person, and he assures me that I can pick the truck up at 2:15 from a location that's maybe 2 miles from where I'm leaving, and I can hold it until 10 o'clock that night and drop it off after hours, and everything is perfect. And yes, I said, I just want to have extra hours just in case. It just feels better to have more time. Okay, so show up at the appointed time at the U-Haul dealer. The first thing is very difficult to find. I'm thinking, okay, well, we're here now, and I've already asked for it to go very smoothly, and I'm just going to roll with anything that comes up and keep my attention on hearing guidance while I stay in gratitude. Now we pull up, and I hand over my credit card and license, and we're ready to go. And the guy looks at me and says, and you realize, of course, that the truck has to be back at 6. I said, but I asked for 10 o'clock because I want to make sure that I have this extra time, and I really need someone to help me. Do you have anyone here that wants to do day labor? Oh, no, we don't have anybody, and there's absolutely no give on this. The truck has to be back at 6. Or you can have it back at 8 o'clock, but if you're not here at 8 o'clock in the morning when we open, there'll be a $50 fine. Okay, so I'm starting to back up. I'm saying, angels, is this you? Am I in the right place? I asked for a seamless move, and I'm feeling really uncomfortable. And I said, this is not any of what was shared with me on the phone when I made this reservation. It's already 2:30 in the afternoon. I don't think we can do it in that amount of time. Holds up his pen. Oh, call this number. I said, no. When I called the number, I got this reservation with the assurance that I could be back at 10. Oh, well, blah, 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 blah. I said, I was looking for another dealership that I have been to many years ago, and I thought it was on Vine. But, obviously I'm on the wrong street, but I know there's a dealership that lets you drop things off at night. Oh, I can't help you. And then there's another guy sitting over there, and he suddenly pipes in. He said, "Oh, you're looking for people to help you? Well, once you get the truck, go in your car and just ask for one person. Otherwise, you'll get too many people, and it will be a real hassle getting rid of them and just whittling it down to two. But what you need to do is speak to one person and let him choose the other person, because he'll choose somebody who was willing to work and not slack off, because he knows if he chooses the slacker, he'll end up doing all the work." I'm saying, okay, that's really great advice, but I still don't feel comfortable about keeping your truck overnight. Am I going to be responsible for damages to the truck? Oh, yes, of course. Of course you are. Thinking, okay. So meanwhile, the other more helpful person, my angel, is tapping away at his keyboard, and he says, "Oh, go up," and he names the street, which again I've forgotten, "to this other dealership. They have a truck and they're waiting for you." I said, "Oh, thank you so much. That feels so much better. I just want to be prepared." So by this time, like an hour has gone by, and we're looking at like 3:30 by the time we get, maybe 4 o'clock by the time we get to the new place. And I walk in, they're lovely. I give the lady again my credit card and license. And she said, "Oh, just take a minute." I said, "Well, I'd like to use the ladies' room while you're doing the paperwork." I go to the ladies' room, I come out, and as we were pulling in, I noticed that it looks like there's some people hanging around, which generally means they want work for the day. And so I say to my son, "Okay, you handle this. I'm getting the truck." And he comes in, "Mom, I need to speak with you outside." Saying, "Okay." Meanwhile, I keep saying, "Angels, I've given it to you. I asked you for help. You always come through. Giving it to you. You just lead me." We go outside, and he says, "This guy has a truck and a helper, and he'll do it for," he names a ridiculously low sum. He's ballparking that. He needs to look at the stuff, and then he'll make a firm offer. I say, "Okay, let's go." So I go back and say, "Oh, a friend of ours has a truck available and help. We're not going to need the truck after all." Leave U-Haul with this gentleman who turns out to be lovely, as is his partner. All right, comes in, sees how much stuff we have, changes the amount, but still reasonable. And they get it out of the place that we're leaving so quickly. I was like, "What? You're done? Okay, well, I still want to vacuum and sweep up and, do a few little things that need to be done here. So I'll meet you over there." So I'm gathering up all the things, of course, find a few things that we left that I had put to the side in a closet. And so I'm loading my car, and I get a call from my son, "Hey, we're already done." I said, "What? I am just barely loading my car." "All right, we'll come back. You can help me carry things in." And before they left for our new place, my son was saying, "Oh, they're going to be really mad because I don't have a way to get into the back gate." And I sent a text to the manager, and he hasn't answered. And if we have to go through the front gate, it's considerably longer, and I think they're going to not be too happy with us. I said, "Well, if we have to pay them more, we'll pay them more. That's only fair." My son gets over to the place, walks in, and runs into a guy who says, "Hey, I'm here to deliver a clicker. Do you know anybody named Alex that would, I have to deliver this clicker to him so he can get in the back gate." So my son and the truck get in the back gate. They're through the easy, quick way. They're done before I can even clean up and gather up the things that had been left behind. My son comes over. By the time he got back, he calls me, "Hey, we're here." I said, "Just go back. I've got everything in the car. Meet me over there. I'll need some help carrying it in." It probably took us maybe 2.5 hours. We did very limited heavy lifting. And it was done without any kind of frustration or difficulty or strain. I could never have arranged this with my logical brain. I didn't know those two men in their truck would be waiting at the next location. They may not have been there when I was at the other place. They may have just finished up a job and arrived a few minutes before we got there. I don't know. But I know that it was so divinely planned. I could not, for the life of me, find this U-Haul place that I had rented from before. Couldn't remember the street. Couldn't seem to find it on the map. Had to call U-Haul and got sent over to a crazy place, and yet knew, okay, this doesn't feel right. Angels, should I just forget it? They said, no, don't forget it. And then sure enough, the other man said, oh, don't worry, I've got you a reservation at the other place. By the time we get to the other place, there is a truck and two extremely efficient people waiting for us, so that this was the most seamless, non-exhausting move possible. Now, no move is exhausting, but this was like a breeze. And I never could have done it without this assistance. I asked them to help me find an apartment. They did it in one day. I asked them for movers. Now, in the moving place, when I had asked, I started that prayer a little early, and I found myself, let's go through our steps again. I found myself, what if we don't deserve this? Or there was a little doubt coming in, but I already had proven that help was available. So I was quickly able to get over the will God help me and will I receive? I knew that because it had just been proven to me. So that was bump number one. I was like, yeah, hey, I asked. I know that answer is going to be here. I just don't know how it's going to be here. So every time I would think about it, and every time I would get what appeared to be a rejection, oh, I can't help you, says one guy, because I'm moving myself, was like, okay, I gave it to the angel, so the solution has to be here, even though it isn't here yet, it will be here when I need it. So I had no doubt. I asked once when I heard myself saying, angels, I really need help with this move. If I heard myself saying that, I would say, forgive me. Of course, I've already asked. You're already on it. Thank you for making this move so easy. So if I found myself asking again, I undid it and got back into that place of gratitude. And then I moved forward. I didn't sit in agony. I did all that I knew how to do. I called the U-Haul so that we had this truck. That was all that I knew how to do. I didn't call every person that I know because that didn't feel right. I didn't feel guided to do that. I only felt guided to call the U-Haul company and stayed in gratitude. Now, fourth, I wasn't a dictator. When I got to U-Haul, and it was not at all what I expected, instead of stamping my feet and saying, angels, you promised me this was going to be a smooth move, I said to myself, angels, something's not right here. I need help. I need direction. Should I leave here with the truck? Is this what you want me to do? So I kept an open channel with them, and I kept feeling this, no, until the guy said, no problem, we've got you a truck at the other place. I was like, oh, thank you. Even though we still didn't have movers, I felt like, okay, that situation has been resolved. Let's go to the other place. Well, by the time we get to the other place, they've put the next component in place so that while I'm taking a bathroom break, the whole thing is being sewn up in a beautiful bow so that all I have to do is say, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is phenomenal. Thank you that I don't have to be carting heavy boxes up the stairs. Thank you that I don't need to develop new muscles today, even though we were really tired afterwards because we did a lot of unpacking that night and got ourselves settled. We were just jubilantly joyful for the way things worked out. Everything was perfect, even though along the way there were a few little things that needed to be adjusted. Expect that. I needed to be in the first place because I couldn't find the second place on my own for whatever reason. Now I'm beginning to believe that perhaps the people that came to us were on a different job and wouldn't be there until late in the afternoon. This was their way of delaying me so I would be at the right place at the right time. When you allow it just to flow and be grateful for however it turns out, including needing to use the ladies' room or men's room, it flows. There are no stumbling blocks that you can't get through. There are just new lessons in trust and gratitude. So that is my moving story of joy and deep gratitude that I hope will encourage all of you not to get discouraged if there's a little weird glitch that happens somewhere along the journey, but just to get deeper into gratitude and to ask, what's going on here? Should I do this thing that's in front of me, or are you asking me to turn right or left? Are you asking me to take further action? Don't be angry ever. Just, hey, this doesn't feel right. Are you asking this? What do I do now? Stay open. Stay in dialogue. Stay receptive. And stay in gratitude. And I just remembered, Nancy had asked us, what does it mean, the cave of your, oh my gosh, how was that said? The cave of your fear holds the deepest treasure, or something along those lines. We need to look at fear in more detail. I have a class, Defeating the Demon of Fear, that will really get into that. We'll probably be looking at fear as we go forward, but just very quickly, love and fear cannot coexist. Love is God. Unconditional love is God. That's the divine. Fear is a product of your own imagination and your own trauma, limiting beliefs and circumstances. The treasure is something happening so beautifully and so perfectly, as it did for me, that it feels like a treasure. Well, it is a treasure. It's just so beautifully unfolding that you know the divine had to have a hand in it. Whenever you move forward in your life purpose, it will feel as though you have unwrapped the biggest treasure in the world. However, it does not come without fear. You're not going to know how to fulfill that purpose completely. You'll have to grow into it. You will come with the basic elements, but you're going to have to grow into it and develop more trust in the divine if you're going to move your life purpose forward. Again, you don't have to. Free will says you can do nothing with the gift that you've brought to share. I encourage you to do something. It's beyond valuable, just as you are, and the world needs it. You've been given this, you've brought this, agreed to bring this forward into the world for a very crucial reason. So unwrap your gift. dive into your treasure, which means going through the fear. I know that there is also a big movement, so to speak. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's the hard way. Love, love, love the fear. Love the fear. Talk with it. Examine it. Go into the heart and say, I understand you're afraid. I get it. But we're not doing this by ourselves. God is with us. The Christ energy, which simply signifies unconditional love of God, rules the heart space. When I work with you, we use, in addition to other energies, the energy of unconditional love through the presence, the energy of the Christ, of Jesus, the Christ, or whatever name you want to assign to that energy, because unconditional love is the only thing powerful enough to defeat fear. You will need help. We all need help. And that unconditional love is the only way through the fear to dissolve the fear and allow you to step in to a more open and receptive relationship with the divine. You don't have to force. When you are forcing, you are playing God. You are pretending to be God. I know it all. When you are flowing, you are receptive and you are allowing guidance to come forward so that you, with the skills that you possess, can put that guidance into action. It is a beautiful partnership. God will not do it all for you. You have skills that you can use, but you cannot do it successfully without the divine. All right, I see I've already talked so much. I was missing you all. Any questions? Before we wrap up, *2 to raise your hand. All righty. Oh, I've got a question. Tina?
Hi, Marcy.
Hi, lovey.
The question was just that you answered everything today. Thank you. I just want to say thank you for everything. I know I think the last time I talked to you was, you're such a blessing. You're a diamond. I just want to say thank you. I think because I went through so much fear for the last couple of days, I know I bought into it. I bit into it. And today it just, everything
do that well. I mean, if I had a skill prior to this, it would be biting into fear.
Yeah, it's like everything just fell apart. I felt like I lost my Facebook. I lost everything. Like, I have no communication with anybody but just you and my husband, my family. I mean, just whoever I have here and my friends. And I just said, okay, when you were saying I have to ask the angels, I was like, man, I've been doing it. And I said, maybe I didn't do it right. And so yesterday, I just thought I was done. I thought, I think my bags are packed and I'm gone because I'm sick now. I allowed myself to get sick and allow myself to just fulfill myself with all this anguish. And then today I had a breakthrough and I just said, okay, before we got on the call, I said, okay, I gotta really trust the angels. I really gotta trust God, and I prayed and everything worked out. And when what you were talking about was just, it all flowed in, and I didn't know how much I was holding on when you were talking to me the last couple of days, and I was like, was I doing that? And I said, I had to own it. I was doing everything you said, and I think the hardest thing is owning your garbage. Like, wow, I gotta own this stuff, and I thought I wasn't doing what I was doing. I thought I wasn't coveting my sister, and I wasn't, and as in holding her up as a pedestal. It's just like you just made a big breakthrough for me today, and I just want to say thank you. I'm still going through my stuff, but I think asking the angels got me through the night today. It got me through today, and I just want to say thank you again. And, everything's going to work out. You're right. It's just, we just got to put our trust in. I think it's just asking myself to just sit with myself and sit with the angels, sit with God, Jesus, and just allow myself to really absorb what they're trying to tell me instead of looking for it on Facebook in my groups, because maybe I was depending on them too much and really not depending on source, on God, on the universe, on angels. And now it's like I'm here now and it's getting better. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And what a brilliant point, because as a miracle is unfolding in our life, we will be given the opportunity to either go into doubt or to expand our trust. And now, why would God do that? To help us develop a stronger faith muscle so that the next time it's even easier, and the time after that, until we just are on automatic pilot. I asked, it will happen. So there will be periods where you're doubting. I mean, when I walked in there and they said, have the truck back by 6, I was like, uh-oh. Should I go into doubt? Because it's just my son and myself. Oh, and his girlfriend came. Two women and a guy who just had neck surgery are supposed to move a house. I'm like,
Oh, my goodness.
Quite what I had thought. Okay, should I scurry over into doubt and get anxious? Or should I just stay here and open up? I just couldn't answer the guy. I was like, until yeah, and the other guy is over there clicking away on his thing and he's talking. I'm saying, I was like, give me a minute. I can't really hear them. You're too much. You're talking too much. Give me a second. I can't make a decision. And I took a deep breath and I said, I asked, and this is going to go smoothly. I just need to get to that place where I'm clear that what I'm being told to do.
Yeah. It
was such a revelation for me. As I said, I really was the slowest learner on the planet when it came time for understanding the power of prayer.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now. It's just I'm really getting, I pray, but I don't think I really devote myself into saying, okay, it's done. I went into fear mode. I think when we talked, oh my gosh, Marcia, it was a basket case. When we got off the phone, I said, man, I'm ready to go to the hospital, ask for depression medicine. I was just lost. I got so lost that I felt like, oh my gosh, this is not going good. It didn't feel good. It felt like everything I went through in my life as a post-traumatic stress, and I thought, man, I'm back in that same situation. And when you just talked about was trust, I had a trust, and when we got off the phone, I knew I went into fear mode. I went into anxious. I was a mess. I was a mess that day, and I just sat with myself, and I just said, okay, I got to stop this, pray, like you said, pray, know that it's done, and then accept in gratitude. And that's all I said was thank you. And today is much better. My stuff is still acting up, but I'm not stressing on any of it. And, I'm so glad you got your move. I'm glad you made it through the move, Marcy. You're a beautiful blessing, and I'm glad that everything went well.
It didn't just go well. It could not have been better orchestrated. It was such a divine orchestration.
Yeah.
All just from beginning to end, it was incredible.
Oh, I'm so glad. I was worried about you.
You know what? Now that I'm just in a. This was like the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae.
Oh.
In terms of I won't have to be in that place again mentally.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got such an incredible confirmation from this experience
Oh.
that I will never be in that place of doubt in exactly the same way. I might revisit it, but not in the same way. It was just a miracle. I'm just so grateful.
I'm glad. I mean, I could see it. I see the doors are just widening open and everything is just flowing in so nice. And, I know that's where you're trying to get us all into that area. And it's the resistance. You're so right. I think with mine was, I almost quit that job, and so I'm only down to 1 day. But I thought, you know what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to be out in this world. I just want to be in my room. I just, the fear of being out is just the overwhelming of the energy just kicks my butt. And now I'm sick, and I just said, can I do this? Can I be out there? And, I love everybody, and I love being with people, but I just don't know how to, like you said, it's like let God do his job. And I know I'm interfering, and it's like, man, just let me stay home and I won't interfere and I'll just stay out of the way. But that's not my purpose. The purpose is to try to be around people and knowing that, learning how to guard, learning how to push that energy back to them. I think that's why I'm out here. Like I said, I almost quit. I was like, I'm done. This is not worth it. 1 day and just being out there is just, I think it's just showing me that I could try to do it again. I could be out around people and not feel like I have to be on depression medicine. And I think what it is just, and I'm not depressed, it's just that I feel so much. And
right.
I think taking the depression medicine was hiding the feelings. And now that, I've always been like this, and I thought I was crazy. And now I'm like, I know I'm not crazy, but boy, it's just exhausting. If you could tell my voice, I'm like exhausted for just being out. And I'm like, want to go home? I'm going to just be in my room and sleep, but I can't do that. I have to function.
Okay, honey. We've got to go, but I'm going to leave you with this thought. Take it slow. Don't force it. Allow it to flow.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And if you don't already, if you haven't already gotten on my mailing list, I mentioned it earlier, Marcia at Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. Send me an email saying, I want to be on your email list, or go to my website, Marcia, M-A-R-C-I-A, MarciaMartinTheHeartHealer.com, and you can either on the home page click Inspire Me, and that will lead you to a sign-up page, or you can send me a message. I also offer a free 30-minute consultation if you would like to inquire about working with me personally. Remember, there are many, many classes that are very affordable on my website, and the classes that have already been taught are recorded, and you will get the follow-up material just as though you've been live. And I see if we've got one more question before we go. Yes, in Texas?
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Sí.
Hi, sweetie.
How do you say it? Marcia.
What, honey?
Marcia, I love you. First and foremost, or second and foremost? I'm not really sure. Still working on things here, but I do love you, and I just want to say thank you. This is your friend Doug calling.
I know your voice, dear Doug.
I want to tell you thank you so much for your teaching today and your lesson and your lessons. That was it, because I thought it was great, and I'm so happy for you. And the story about the clicker coming through,
Oh my gosh,
if angels are not orchestrating that, then none of us exist.
I mean, that was our
That's what I
only.
gotta say.
That was our only glitch. Alex pulls me aside. Yeah, what are we gonna do? I don't have a way into the back, and it's really gonna. I said, okay, well, we'll pay them extra. Get over there. He said, Mom, you won't believe it. I pull up, and there's a guy wandering around saying, I'm looking for a guy, Alex. I need to give him this clicker. Just perfect. All right, guys, we got to go. I love you all. Thank you so much. Until next Wednesday, I'm sending you my love.